Good morning and welcome to Today in the News here in Vanguard Live. My name is Ololade Adeomi. You're looking to our newspapers for today, starting with the Vanguard newspaper. Major headline on the Vanguard says, Abuja protests, court remands Kano's lawyer, brother, 10 others in prison. Defenders chanted war songs, police allege. I am safe but still in Kuje prison, Ejimako says. Wabara demands release of Kano's brothers, others. We are mimicking democracy, Farotimi says. Fault police judiciary. Action aid. Amnesty International condemn assault on protesters. Major story can be found on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. Top banner. We will go after enemies of our sovereignty, says CDS. ISWA plans fresh attacks in Ondo, Kogi, says DSS. Ondo Police CPO security meeting. Why governors, others are defecting to APC, Governor Sule says. 73 rural residents say inflation rate is high, says CBN. Lower banner, court nullifies Ebonyi 2024 local government election, sacks chairman, councillors. Tanker explosion, over 30 killed in Niger, scooping fuel from falling tanker. Why Nigeria should not be designated country of concern, says KUKAH. Can fires back at presidency, says Christian genocide real. Story can be found on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper. 2026 World Cup qualifier, NFF rolls out plans for Super Eagles playoffs. Away from Vanguard, straight into the Punch newspaper. Major headline on the Punch says, Convention, Lamido, Turaki, McCarthy lead PDP chairman race. Northwest PDP set to pick consensus chair at party zoning favors region. Party set for convention. Top banner, presidential pardon. AGF orders multi-agency probe. Niger governor mourns as 35 killed in tanker explosion. Presidency, can clash over Christian genocide claim. Lower banner, Sanwo-Olu, Fashola, Ambode, Lagos APC endorsed Tinubu's re-election. MDAs under fire as federal government probes CSA violation. Amokwiton resumes next week ahead of Anambra poll. Away from the Punch, straight into the Nation newspaper. Major headline on the Nation says, KUKAH, why Nigeria should not be linked to religious genocide. How we are empowering MSMEs to drive inclusion prosperity by Shetima. 35 die in another petrol tanker explosion. Protest. Police charge Kano's lawyer, brothers, 10 others. ADC Secretariat set ablaze in Ado-Ekiti. Tinubu nominates Zoro as minister to replace Iwatada. Abia, Edo, Ebonyi, Ondo, Lagos in voter registration. Away from the Nation, straight into the Guardian newspaper. Major headline on the Guardian says, FG promise fades as pricey phone services shut out poor Nigerians. Senate slams life sentence on child defilement to toughen laws on rape. Don't designate Nigeria country of concern. KUKAH appeals as APC rallies behind Tinubu. Ex-minister warns corruption, poverty pushing nation to edge. Oil sector falters as FIRS pushes government revenue by 31.38 trillion naira. OAU students live in fear as robbers repeatedly raid Moremi Estate hostel. That's all we have on the front page this morning. Join us after the break for a quick analysis of some of our top stories. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Today in the News here on Vanguard Live. My name is Ololade Adeomi. Joining me in the studio today for a quick analysis is Mr. Gbenro Olajuyigbe. Good morning, Mr. Gbenro.
Good morning, Ololade.
Good morning, sir. I look into a top story for today. The Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, has accused the presidency of Nigeria of misrepresenting its position regarding the attacks on Christians in northern and middle belt Nigeria. CAN insists that the violence against Christian communities in several parts of northern Nigeria and the middle belt amounts to a Christian genocide. The presidency, through a statement reportedly by the president's special advisor on media and policy communication, claimed that Khan had described the killings as a so-called Christian genocide, something Khan says is false. Also, Matthew Azan KUKAH, the Catholic bishop of the Sokoto diocese, has cautioned the international community against designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern for religious persecution. Do you agree with the fact that we hear the term genocide, knowing that it carries, specific meaning under international law? In your view, does the pattern described by Khan itself meet that threshold? Will we call what has been happening in Nigeria a Christian genocide?
Well, I think I will start from the point that when you are not concerned about the situation, particularly the evil that is going on in your own country, other nations will get concerned. So I don't know whether it's just described as genocide, whether it's described as just pure blind conflict that is being afflicted on all sections and all people of Nigeria. That is not the issue. If government has stood up to solve problems, we wouldn't be where we are. You hear of government talking of economy every time, economy in the sense that how much tax is being made, how much revenue, without paying attention to the existential issues of a drove of people that are being killed extrajudicially through violence means, through extreme violence and every other thing. Then you have a country that has problem. You must address your internal problem. Without it, what is our concern? If we are addressing this problem, will we have gotten to a level where we are concerned about being described as a country of consigning nature? That is the problem we have. Look at the plethora violent issues that we have across the country. For example, I will give you an instance. The one that is brewing in Lagos now, it's not, don't make any mistake. I've worked on conflict and root causes of conflict for a long time to know that what is going on in Lagos is not between Yoruba and Igbos, but rather between the supporters of President Tinubu and the supporters of Obi that defeated him in Lagos. They are weaponizing all these things to look like ethnic tension, ethnic crisis in Lagos and other parts of the country. So it's not that an average Yoruba, the poor one, that is their political one, does not hate Yoruba, and I don't think the average Igbo too. Does not hate Igbo. Then the average Igbo person does not equally hate the Yorubas. But we have politicized everything, and now we are concerned because America is describing us or want to put us among the country of grave concern. So why are we bother when we don't care about solving problems and people get killed every day? No repercussion, no response from government, nothing. I posted a lady that was in the kennel of kidnapper yesterday in Edo State. What is federal government doing about it? A life is getting an individual kill is bad enough. Not to talking of killing people in hundreds and in thousands and every month, every day, people are getting killed and you are folding your hand. You talk of us every time. Is that the essence of governance? The essence of governance is the welfare of the people and their security. You must make money. There's need for revenue, but that should not be the frontal issues that you are going to be carrying like gala every day, as if people don't matter in terms of government, in terms of what you should do as a people. And then now you are suddenly you get concerned because you are being designated as countries of concern by the United States. That is not the issue of Nigeria. And the interpretation of genocide is left for those who see it as so. For example, if the religious people like Khan, if they see it as genocide against their people, they have the right to talk. If the Muslims see it as genocide against their people, they have the right to talk or speak out. But the issue is that it is the government that will come up with a robust response plan to engage this thing, that there's not even opportunity to begin to characterize and recharacterize the nature or dimension of violence that is going on in Nigeria by providing solutions, including remedial issues. If people are killed and so you don't bother, you don't know what happened to their family, so what do you want them to, how do you want them to interpret the crisis? To clap for government and be political about the explanation they want to give. For example, if a group of Christians come together and keep people in your village, you are going to call them Christians. If they come together, it doesn't matter what the federal government is talking about. You are looking at the average, but people are in silo describing their tragedy, giving it the name they understand how they see it. So it's not a matter of being that what we are getting into is a question of genocide or not. It's a question of incompetence that has wrecked the nation and has given rooms to absolute room for conflict entrepreneur, for violent extremists, and of course for absolute criminal to define the geography that we call Nigeria in the face of the world. So how they interpret it is because it's for them, because you have failed at home. So to stop the argument, but stop the only way to stop the argument is to square up to your responsibility and stop the urges of violence that is going on in our country. They have killed people in the churches and in the mosque. So we can't be saying that it's balanced. The fact that you have a generalized violence does not mean that there are no specific targets in some cases. And you must appreciate that in your analysis of the violent conflict that is going on in Nigeria. So why should people be political about it? The government should sit tight, and people, and the greatest accountability. It's not the way that they looted your money, that is our accountability, because of the poverty that is pervasive, is built around finance, around money. We don't care about what happened to people's life. That is the most critical things that government should be held accountable of. Every person that is killed unjustly in Nigeria is a vote of no confidence on the government, whether you describe it as genocide or not. But then let's see it is that what genocide is actually is that a well-orchestrated plans to ensure that a particular people, whether on the basis of their political stand, on the basis of their ethnicity, on the basis of even their geography, they are specifically targeted for violence, for annihilation, or for pollution genetically, to pollute them genetically. For example, it is possible for a group of people, assuming that a tribe or somebody, they will just say that what we do to the ladies in this from this ethnic group is that we are going to rape them so that we pollute their genealogy, so that we pollute their genetics. That is genocide, because it's specifically targeting a group of people. Are the violent people, the violent extremists, have they ever targeted specific people? Those who went to mosque to wreak havoc targeted a group of people because they know that Muslim worship here. That qualifies to be a genocidal attack. Those who specifically moved to church to attack people specifically targeted a group of people, and that qualifies to be described as target, as genocide. So the argument of government or anybody is neither here or not. It might not be state-backed, like the case of Rwanda in those days. It might not be a genocide might not be a state policy. But then, if you allow it, you allow it. And it can be so described, depending on the situation, depending on the geography, depending on the scope you are describing. So we should be clear about that. And our government should be held accountable. Since they don't bother, let people from outside begin to describe what they are seeing now. If that will help them to scale up the operation and respond, so that Nigeria can live in peace and harmony. This government has not risen one day to come out and say that I want to address the violent situation in Nigeria. There's no comprehensive plan to do that from this government. Only money how to generate revenue. Is that what government is about? In an atmosphere of extreme violence? What is Nigeria supposed to be paying tax? When kidnapper will kidnap them and ask them to bring 10 million, bring 15 million, why should they pay tax to government in the first place? If we have to take it by that. They are already paying tax because of your failure to protect the terrorists. So we must comprehensively and holistically look at these issues and begin to hold our country and government accountable. Not accountability is not about finance, not about money. It's about what happened to people. A government where 200 people were killed at a go does not deserve to be in office in the first place. That is outright failure of protection, which is the cardinal issue, cardinal responsibility imposed on any government by the Constitution.
There's back and forth.
So we must be clear about what we are describing, about how other people see us. If you are not making effort to address problems, people can characterize you the way they like. What do you want them to say? To clap for you? And do you see any country in recent time that is not at war, that 100 people will be killed at home, and everybody will move on like that? Is that normal? Is that a normal country? Are we normal as a people? To accommodate that, to have said that as standard practice? Those are issues that we should begin to address and not be coloring what is not. We should not be political about it. And somebody will come that the country is moving forward, and the next thing you see is statistics of how gross domestic product is increasing, even though it is marginal. That is not the measure of progress. The state failure is measured by the state of violence in your country. In fact, that is the most critical one. That is the definition of a failed state. If a government is unable or unwilling or both to address the issue of violence in the country to the extent that nobody feels safe in that country, that government, that state has failed already. That is the critical definition of state failure.
There's back and forth going on, between the presidency and CAN, like we have emphasized, especially over the phrasing Christian genocide versus so-called Christian genocide. Do you support the presidency decision to actually publicly challenge CAN's wording?
Well, that should tell you the depth of division that is in the country. Is it now that they describe it that the president should be talking to CAN? Inclusive things should have been made. So how do we address this problem? And do they show concern? They are waiting for another group of people to be massacred before they go there and take control. I don't know whether it's true or not. I read like an alert purportedly sent by DSS in respect of a possible attack in Ondo and everything. I just read this somewhere. I saw the letter, I saw the thing, and the thing was purportedly pushed out by TVC or something like that. I saw it on social media now. But whether real or unreal, these people have been attacked before. What are we doing? The population at risk is helpless. Nigeria today, some people are paying tax to terrorists in a country. The ungoverned space is everywhere. It's everywhere. So it's not what goes on between CAN and federal government. CAN's loyalty is to his constituency, which is the Christian
body.
While the Islamic version of CAN, they have loyalty and responsibility to their own. But the federal government has responsibility for everybody. That's why I'm saying that there must be national response strategy. National strategy put in place to engage this ugly of violence. It's getting out of hand. You want to travel from Abuja to Lokoja, Abuja, the center of Lokoja, you are afraid. You want to go to Ondo from Abuja or from Lokoja to Abuja, you are afraid. And so across the country, we know that there is generalized violence. There are specific violence too. We must do our analysis in order to appreciate this, to comprehend this, and pull out solution through a robust strategy that will engage them, context-specific strategy that will respond to all these issues that are coming up, rather than making noise on the papers and everything about what federal government is doing. Federal government should even not, it should be too shameful to even engage in any argument. Because the responsibility is that nobody deserves to be killed in Nigeria. That is why government is put in place. Any life lost in Nigeria is prejudicially. It's a vote of no confidence on the government.
Bishop
Not to talk of hundreds of lives, tens of scores of lives.
Bishop KUKAH, has cautioned the international community against designating Nigeria as a country of particular concern, for religious persecution. He's saying that, this designation might undermine interfaith dialogue and peace effort. Do you agree with this statement by Bishop KUKAH?
Which peace effort? Which peace effort is he talking about? Peace effort with who? You must look at the power dynamics of this violence if you want to solve the problem. And you must come out with how to engage them. Let me tell you one thing. When you have a situation, look at the nature of protests that happened in Abuja the other day. Look, there is absolute collapse of justice administration system in Nigeria. People don't even believe in God. That is the situation for this anarchy. Even ab initio, those that are fighting, causing this problem, they are victims of this society we live in. They are victims of the state. They are impoverished. The state has denied them access to education. They couldn't access education. They don't care about whether people go to education. Even governors that have failed in their state are today decamping to APC, and we celebrate that as achievement. They are the people, the brain behind this collapse we are witnessing in our security architecture, security system. You go to court, when you operate a situation where people have access to obtain justice, whether it's physical justice, legal justice in this wise, or social justice, you will be able to curtail the people, the level of violence in your country. But where people, a rich man can oppress the poor, but a poor man cannot go to court. The poor man now will get out of the society and come back to launch attack on society that have denied him or her social justice. That is the dynamics of the problem we are facing. We must look at it holistically and solve them. Society is unjust to our citizens. That is the root causes of crisis we are having now. Inequality, a society where those who work cannot eat, and those who don't work are eating. And you expect peace in that society? A society where teachers and professors that should bring young people, train educationally and in character, cannot afford to eat because of poor pay. And legislators who are absolutely doing nothing, absolutely, and I say this with sense of responsibility, because if they are doing something, we won't have our country like this, are taking all lots of money, and you expect this? That is absolute thoughtlessness. If you expect that the society that is unjust to people and a society that is unfair to our citizens, we suddenly become peaceful, that is absolute trash. It won't happen. So this is a process, and it flows from the fountain of justice. When you have a society that's characteristically unjust, through corruption, corruptive tendencies of our leaders, and nothing is happening, court is not doing anything about them, a society that is trying somebody for corruption for 10 years, further wasting the state money, and is not getting it, is that a country? A society that we try and accuse person, even for a murder, clear case of murder and with evidence, evidentially backed up, for 5 years, for 10 years without headway. Is that a society that there will be no anarchy? A society that will sentence a man that steal goat for 5 years and pardon a murderer. Is that a society that will not be anarchical? Those are critical issues that we must understand as drivers of violence in Nigeria. Injustice, inequalities, sundry unemployment that is pervasive among the young people. You don't have comprehensive plan for young people. Then it's a society that's set on the edge. Are you not afraid that hundreds of thousands of young people are coming out of university into an employment market? That is a fertile pool for violent perpetrators, to recruit violent perpetrators. Those are the issues that federal government should be concerned with. And if they have been concerned with this, we won't get to a level of even responding to whatever America is saying, because citizens will come out that it is not so. A society that will raise a national issue today, and they will begin to see it from the prism of being a Yoruba, being a Hausa, being Fulani, being Igbo. That society has problem. The job of the president is cut off from him. But if he abandons it, it's another thing. And face revenue generation. How will that help Nigeria in the long run? It's what I don't know. Because you can't build society like that. It is not money that builds society. It is people that build society.
Away from that, into our second story for today. The Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has approved the major amendment to the Criminal Code via the Criminal Code Amendment Bill 2025, which sets life imprisonment without an option of fine for anyone convicted of defiling a minor, raises the minimum penalty for rape, forced sexual intercourse involving boy, girl, man, or woman from 5 years to at least 10 years. In your view, do you think this harsher penalty is enough to, deter such offenses?
Well, that is not the sense of justice that I want to see. That is not the sense of justice that I want to see. One, justice has three angles. Justice to the accused, justice to the victim, and justice to society. Well, if you get somebody that defiled an underage person, life imprisonment, it's okay. But then, is that justice to the underage person that has been raped and have been infected with HIV? It's not. How do you remedy that? There must be. What I want them to add, if they have to add it, it's not about jailing the accused. How do you take care of the victim? There must be remedy for that. So the remedial aspect must go along with the criminal aspect. That is the remedial, which is administrative side of justice, must go hand in hand with the criminal prosecution of the person. Even if you kill somebody that killed, that is one thing. Even if you kill somebody, a criminal that killed another person, is that sense of justice to the family that has lost a beautiful life? Those are the things we should be thinking of as a nation. You must have confiscation of everything that the criminal has ever worked for in life, so that you transfer them to the victim. And the state too must pay. There must be damaging coming from the state. For instance, if a Nigeria is killed extrajudicially, the killer can be jailed. The property of the killer can be confiscated. Also, federal government must be made to pay for at least 10 million for every life loss. If they are paying it, they will take their job serious. The responsibility to protect is that of the state. State should not just be mere prosecutor. They should be part of those that will be prosecuted, albeit administratively, for failure in their duty. That is the thing that is the policy, the law and policy that I've been trying to push out since. I've said this in several forums where I have to talk about the issue of rape and everything. Because I work in the context of conflict, in the context of violence, I've seen all these times with that number repeatedly, here and outside. I've seen the trauma of people that are victims of these purges of violence. And you can't quantify them. To allow the state to go scot-free is injustice. To allow the accused to just go and serve sentence is injustice to the victim. So it must comprehensively be thought out. Me, it's just like any other law, as far as I'm concerned. Because what constitutes justice to the victim is not what they are giving him. If somebody is infected with HIV, sending the rapist to jail for 10 years for life is sentence will not cure the infection. How do the victim now begin to manage it? That is when you have semblance of justice, not all this political romantic that they are doing and everything. And how have you even asked yourself, how Senate, how National Assembly has not made law that will sentence the corrupt people to death in Nigeria? Have you asked yourself why they didn't do that? Because corruption is even a species of violence. And that is the foundation of the violence you are seeing. Corrupt people who are guilty of corruption should be sentenced to death. Let them make that law, then I will plan for them. And then we'll begin to have a society of sanity.
Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Greer. It's a pleasure having you in the studio. Yes, thank you very much. That was Mr. Benro Olajege. He's Executive Director, Emergency and Risk Alert. Do well to follow us on all our social media platforms as seen on your screen. For up-to-date stories on our website, it's www.vanguardngr.com. My name is Ololade Adeomi.